increase in home prices over the next year in the Everett area. Okay. And, even they can't tell us what's going to happen in the future, right? Just a forecast. Hey, everybody. It is Ashley with Keller Williams Real Estate in Everett coming at you with a real estate market update. So look, if this is your first time to my channel, please do like the video and subscribe. I have tons of awesome information about preparing to buy, what's going on in the market, preparing to sell, the whole bit. Anyway, look, COVID sure has changed the market here in Everett. And man, I'm super excited to this month because it has been freaking nuts. So let's just get to the data and find out more. All right, so let's just really start with Everett as a whole, okay? Because here's the thing: the pandemic and everything that was already going on with the market pre-pandemic has kind of like carried itself out here. So we're looking at October. You can see that I'm comparing October of last year, 2019, to October of this year. And you can see here that there has been a 44.2% increase in the number of new listings. Now, we knew this was going to happen, okay? Because, we paused for like 2 seconds in the springtime, and it just seemed, perhaps at that point that what was going to happen is that the buying season was going to just kind of get drawn out into fall a little bit. And you can also see that with pending sales. They've gone up as well. I think the thing that maybe is a bit surprising, maybe for most people, is to see this median home sale price. I mean, in 2019, it was $400,000, and it is now about $465,000, which is a 16.3% increase. I mean, there was a point, I remember at the beginning of the pandemic, when Zillow thought, we're going to have negative appreciation in homes, and that just didn't happen, okay? Similarly, days on market, I mean, you can definitely tell there's a lot of buyer demand and a lot of pressure for people to get into homes and get out of there, because look at that, days on market is way down. I mean, we're talking like a little less than a week on average. And man, okay, like this, I think largely is a result of COVID, right? The big drivers here is we had COVID happen. We had that, huge drop in interest rates. I mean, they're extremely low. And we already had like really high buyer demand in this area. So in some ways, not a surprise, right? Like this was inevitable. But let's get a little bit more detailed. But we're going to go into Historic North Everett, maybe. So we're going to look at Historic North Everett, okay? So this is sort of looking at similar metrics, okay? So here's the deal. Looking at North Everett, it almost has a bit of a different story than Everett on a whole, okay? Because even though demand is super duper high and it is like a great time to get a record price from your home, you can see here that the new listings in Historic North Everett are pretty much flat, as are the pending properties too, right? Like comparing 2019 to 2020, right? And maybe that's a surprise. I don't know. I think it's always been this way in Historic North Everett. I mean, the inventory just doesn't move as quickly. It's one of those areas where when people move in, they really don't leave. And so you can really see that, there hasn't been as much movement, though there has been movement. And you can also see that, the number of homes for sale are down. Look at that. They're down 52.5%. Okay, 52.5% they're down. All right. And this, I mean, it's just been crazy, right? I mean, this has driven things like month supply down as well. You can see it in the corner there. It's really usually expressed as like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? But what it's saying here is that we have a little more than 2 weeks supply. That means, just so you understand, if we did not bring any additional inventory into Historic North Everett right now, it would all be sold in 2 weeks, all of it gone, okay? And, I think obviously this lack of inventory, this high buyer demand, these low interest rates have created this like reduction in the days on market until sale. That's down 60%. It has also done this other really interesting thing, which I'm going to go into a little bit into detail, but it has done this. It has taken the median home sale prices in historic North Everett up 15.9%. I mean, that's a huge number, okay? Now, obviously, I picked the median for a reason, because it's going to be a little bit more stable than just the normal average, right? Because, one may argue and look at this graph and say, well, median home sale price, like, maybe there's more $1 million properties in historic North Everett, which is true. Maybe there have been more $1 million home sales than in the past. But, I don't think that that's the case. I think that it is just, in general, prices are going up. Okay. And, I mean, I could keep going here, but let's continue on. Let's look at the next slide. All right. So like, let's look at home sale prices over the last, this is almost 2 years of data. Okay. You can see it starts in February of 2019, and you can see that, median home sale prices have been below 400,000 for a while. But, what you can see here is it's just kind of like this increasing trend, like, if you look at this with the right eye, you can see that overall this graph is shifting and that you're getting higher prices over time, okay? And this has been happening over the past 10 years in historic North Everett. You can see the wave of inventory going across from lower priced properties all the way over to more expensive properties, okay? Like, there was a time when you could buy a house for $100,000 in North Everett, and that just doesn't exist anymore. And look at this, okay? So I suspect that, we're heading to this place where really, if you want to buy a house in historic North Everett, you really need to be looking at like at least $400,000 on your budget. Why is that? Because anything below $400,000 in North Everett, I mean, it just needs an incredible amount of work. I mean, even ones at 400,000, some of those are like that. And, certainly, the inventory under $400,000 has dropped significantly over the last couple of years by like 67.5%. And you know what? 67.5% is equivalent to hundreds of home opportunities in that lower end that are now gone. They just don't exist. And this is huge, especially considering that up here in historic North Everett, in this zip code 98201, only around 400 homes sell per year, right? I mean, you only have 400 homes sold per year, and hundreds have basically just been taken on the market because they've gone, they're just now more than 400,000. And, I think that's the direction we're going in, and we're going to continue to see that. Okay. We're going to continue to see that. Let's look at this is the last thing, looking at percent of list price received. I want you to notice that, this data, like I said, down at the bottom there, it's from February 2019 to October 2020. And you can see that this graph has just kind of on average, looking at it in a trending way, has shifted up about 1 to 2%. Okay. So, all through 2019, we're kind of bouncing between somewhere around asking and maybe 2% above asking on average. And you can see here, starting in February 2020, you can see it is now, it's now kind of dancing between 2% and 4% above asking, okay? And, the other thing that is so crazy, to really note here is this right here in October of 2019. You can see that we kind of got that fall seasonal dip where like the market was kind of like, oh, it's holiday season, everything's going to kind of slow down. And you can see where people are getting, on average around their asking price or a little bit less. And you can see that happens in October, November, and December. But you can see here, October 2020, we're at still somewhere between 2 to 4% above asking. All right. Which is insane. And here's the deal. I think that this is going to continue. I don't think that we're going to get like that normal seasonal drop, I think what we're going to get is we're going to get less inventory on the market, and this, percent above asking is going to stay. Okay, it is going to stay. Now, it's just going to be interesting. We'll just have to see what happens, right? Like I'm sort of thinking, okay, if interest rates remain low, we still have COVID-19. People are, wanting to get out of apartments and get into their own house. And then, of course, we'll see what the election results do. Like where are we going to end up? We're just going to have to see. All right. So what's the bottom line here? The bottom line is this: nobody has a crystal ball. Okay. Zillow is forecasting an 8.1% increase in home prices over the next year in the Everett area. Okay. And, even they can't tell us what's going to happen in the future, right? It's just a forecast. All right. So look, all we can talk about is what's going on right now. Right now, home prices are high and interest rates are low. That means that if you are in the market to sell a home, or you're thinking, okay, I need to right size, I need to get into a proper size house, then you're going to get a historic price for your home. And you're also going to be able to lock in a very low interest rate on that next house. Okay. So that's it. Boom, that's the market update, November 2020. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, and I will see you again next month. Take care.